Hey, so right now I'm prepping for a video in a document titled this is another one. Why LinkedIn doesn't work for most people. So I kind of wanted to document this and kind of like take you behind the scenes of like me making one of these like posts. Like sometimes you'll see posts where it's like I'm just pulling things up where you'll see it's like 5, 6, 7 pages or whatnot. And like this is I don't think a lot of people understand like how much actually goes into these posts. And like, it's not that, I'm doing to like brag or stuff like that, but I'm trying to kind of, take you behind like the inner workings. So there's some stuff that just doesn't get put inside of the documents. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's like it only turns into 4 pages, but generally I make 4 pages. I have to make it in between like 5, 6, 7, 8 pages worth of notes. And I also run it through a condenser app to actually make it easier to kind of read and go through. So I'm gonna start talking about like why LinkedIn doesn't work for most people. And let me kind of go to my notes and just make sure I'm hitting every single thing. Let me answer a couple things. Also, my voice type might like mess some things up, so you might not see it on the screen, but you're just gonna kind of hear me typing out. Okay, so one thing that I see a lot of people don't have is that they don't have any trust building assets. So, and when I say trust building assets, you can either have it on your social media profiles, et cetera, or it's what you send after the call is booked with a person. So number one is gonna be like your business resume. Now, what is it? So what, why, how did I find this? How to make it. Okay, so business resume is basically a resume for your business. I know a lot of people, whether you're like working a job right now, like maybe you don't want to put your LinkedIn and like tell people you're having a business, or maybe you come from a different industry and you're like, well, how do I kind of display my skill set? This business resume does that. Now, I actually I basically created this because one of the students in my mentorship program was like an engineer by trade, and like a CPA literally asked him like for a list of services. So I just like went on like Canva. Well, first I went on Microsoft Word, wrote down like all different services, like things that are like really, really important. And then I went on Canva and like there was like a resume template. So it's like, okay, so we can't do it about, him as a person, he's an engineer. So we have to do the same thing, but as if like the business has a resume itself. And like when he sent it, like the CPA was super, super impressed. And like the guy ended up getting like a $4,000 a month client off of just the business resume because the CPA was so impressed. And it wasn't like when I say just, it's like it was just enough to get the person to trust him enough to refer him to other people. And then once he was on those calls, those referrals, he just used like our sales scripts and stuff, and then got the person to say yes. And he did it over and over and over again repeatedly. He made the six figures very quickly. So currently on this document, you might not see a lot of stuff being like written or typed. It's because I'm actually voice recording right now. So I used to do the Google Document has like a built-in like voice recording thing, but I found the accuracy of it was a little bit weak. So I'm voice typing these documents, and then I have like transcribed. So it does cost a little bit of money to like have the AI transcription, not a huge amount, but you know, it definitely is worth it for the time it saves. So I should have a thing about how to make it. So basically, how you make one of these is you go make a Google document or a Microsoft Word document. You put what are all of your services that you're offering? What are some of the skills that you have? What are some of the either education or certifications that you have? And then put down like how can you actually help the business owner? Now, you also want to have like a really clear headshot of yourself. And then once you have those like, details, you can just go on Canva and like literally just type in resume, resume template. So I use Canva for most of um for most of my designing stuff, just because simple and easy. Come on. So any one of them will do. I like this version. Um, like literally, I just use this. Share. I'm gonna put the. I'm actually gonna put like the link. I'm gonna put a link down to it, like inside of the document itself, just so people like can see it. Um, cool. So that is trust asset number one. Now, again, this is just really easy to kind of build simple credibility, even if you're outside of the industry. Next thing are case studies. So for case studies, I like to do these. Basically, you take like either your best client, your best job, and you basically state out like what was the previous situation, like what were some of the stuff that are going through, what were some of the pains, the problems, the challenges, and then what were they trying to like overcome. Then you add in a little bit about credibility about yourself, like how long you've been in the game for, why should people listen to you, and why should people like move forward with you. After that, you're basically going to do 3 to 5 steps of exactly what the person should do in order to get out of that situation. Ideally, if you've done this for someone else, you would just use the 3 to 5 steps you already did. Now, if there weren't 3 to 5 steps, talk about 3 to 5 stages or different processes. So first, we did like an analysis of like, where were they overspending? Next, we went and looked at those areas just to make sure that it was actually accurate. After that, we put a budgeting plan in place to make sure that we weren't going to overspend it. After that, we held weekly meetings to make sure we were within budget. After that, we started thinking about all different places we can now reinvest the new free cash flow. Okay. That's simple 5 steps right there, or 5 phases that you went through. But the reason why it's important is because people need to know that even if you don't have a million years of experience, people need to know that you know what you're doing. So by having a case study, it shows you actually are good at what you're talking about. And it's like you're proving and displaying your ability right then and there. There was an old internet marketer named Dan Kennedy, and he used to say things like, you have to display your power. So basically, the only way that I know a magician can do magic is because he has to show me he can do magic, right? Once he showed me he can do magic, I think he's a magic person. The same thing with us. Once we show them we know accounting and bookkeeping, we know it at a higher level than what the client does, the client ends up wanting to work with you. It just makes it so much easier for them to respect you, right? Because then when they come on the call, if they've already seen your power, they're going to respect you a lot more, and it makes it easier for you to like get the higher price points that most people are looking for, and most people struggle to actually get, right? Because if you're struggling to get higher price points, it just means that they don't respect your skill set, right? So like they'd be willing to pay a CPA $250 an hour, or they'd be willing to pay a lawyer $350 per hour, right? Because they respect lawyers, right? Because it's it's just the industry of law has been better at marketing like their value than what accountants have been able to do, right? But it's the same thing. So if your profession doesn't market themselves as well as what they could, you have to learn how to market yourself as well as what you could. That's the biggest thing. Definitely the biggest thing. Um, cool. And then once you have those, like you can never have enough case studies. I literally do a case study every single week inside of my various Facebook groups, my various school groups online, even my YouTube channel, right? Every single week. That I do stuff. I have some sort of like case study of this student did XYZ or this person did XYZ, and it just works so well because now it's just like it's also like a pseudo testimonial, right? Because like you're telling the story about this, right? And if you're using a real life event, it's like you just get a free testimonial every single time. Cool. Next thing, speaking of testimonials, I like video testimonials. Basically, do an interview where you interview your clients on how they enjoyed your service. It's very simple and it's done like in an interview fashion. So I learned this through a paid program that I did, and it was really about like how to build trust in a market. And one of the coolest things that they were doing were video testimonials. They basically sit there and talk for like 15 minutes to the guy who was teaching the course was doing like hour-long interviews. That I don't believe an hour is like that's way too long in my opinion, but it worked for him. I like to do things more like 15 to 20 minutes long, if that. And you just basically sit there and interview your clients. Same thing as the case study, right? So it's very similar process. Where were they? Where do they want to go? What were some of the steps that were involved? What were some of the outcomes that they received? What was the experience? What was the journey like? Now, the difference between a case study and a video testimonial is just that the video testimonial should be more like in a story and a journey. And it's the fact that it's being told by the actual client rather than told by yourself. So they are a little bit more effective than a case study. It's just the fact that, you can get a lot more case studies out because you can basically go and find those stories from your past life versus video testimonials. Like you have to like have the client, find the client, make sure the client's comfortable in video, and then do the video itself. Um, I'm debating about whether or not I should do a breakdown of how to do a video testimonial, but I'm going to save that for the next one. Next thing, audio testimonials. Very similar to video testimonials. It's just done audio only. So it's just more people are willing to do it, and it's a little bit more like less pressure because you don't have to be on camera. Next thing, any speaking events you've done. Okay. So I learned this because I started posting different speaking events on my Facebook, and people would reach out to me saying, like, hey, I just saw your speaking event. It looks like you really know what you're doing. Can maybe talk about like if you can help me with your accounting or bookkeeping. And it was just amazing. So this is both at the event, people would say that they would come up to me after the event, and on my Facebook, they would reach out to me as well and just be like, hey, I saw it, let's go. It's such a cool thing because the fact that you're on a stage causes people to respect you more, and people generally want to work with a person that's on stage. It's a very, very cool phenomenon. It works very well, and you just have to be able to just do it. Now, you don't have to do a million of these. Like if you're not a speaker, I'm not saying you have to become one. It's just these are the easiest ways to start building trust online. Now, we have a video on our YouTube channel that breaks down how to go and do speaking events, how to get speaking events. So I'm not going to do that inside of this document. But go to my YouTube channel, type in speaking events, and you'll find something up. Next is a personal resume. Okay. So if you have accounting experience, I would use the personal resume. Even if you have a business resume, I would still send the personal resume as well. You can never send someone enough documents and resources about how good you actually are. Like the more of these you can have, the better it is. Like all the time. Like you never have to worry about I sent too much. I sent too much stuff. I sent way too many things about like how good I am. It doesn't work like that. Now, they might not read everything, but even if they don't read everything, the fact that they sent you and the fact that you have it builds credibility, right? Like there is something to be said about having a stack or just like a bunch of URLs inside of an email about all the things that you've done to help someone out. I've seen one of the top internet marketers. I saw a cold email he basically puts out to new potential clients. This guy was doing like $18 million a year. No, probably not $18 million. I think he was doing like $12 million a year or something like that. He had collected like $18 million. But his email had like 10 different links of like his resume, testimonials, case studies, YouTube videos. It was so many URL links. I didn't even know you could put them in an email and still have it be like delivered to the client. That would be marked as spam. But it just works so well. And it's just there's you can never have enough proof of you being good at what you do, right? Same thing. You can also have your website link. That's optional. I generally don't really recommend having a website in the beginning. It's just not really needed. Like once you start making significant traction, okay, build a website. It doesn't hurt, right? But in the beginning, I just wouldn't do it. But it does help you to kind of build some trust. But so that's the least of the trust assets. But the cool thing is like once you have your video testimonials, you have your case studies, you have the audio testimonials, you have some speaking events, you could just put it on your website and just send people to your website. So it's like good as a holding zone. And it's good if like you already have an audience that you send to it. It does not generate an audience like most people think. It's just good for utilizing your own audience to build that trust. Cool. Okay, so those are trust building assets. What are some other reasons people don't? Give me 1 second. Let me read this. Right. Hmm. You don't message anyone. So next on our list is you don't message people. So in the beginning, when you have less than 500 connections or less than 10 clients from your audience, you have no business posting. Now, I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just saying it's just not going to be effective. Generally, what's going to happen is social media is going to show your posts and content to about 5 to 10% of your total audience. So if you have under 500, let's say if you have 100 followers, you're only going to have 5 to 10 people seeing that. Now, the argument can be made that 5 to 10 people is enough for you to get clients, but just because someone sees it does not mean that number one, it's going to show to the 10 people in your audience that actually own a business. And number two, just because someone sees one post does not mean they're going to buy. Oftentimes people need to like either watch your videos or read your posts for at least 3 to 5 months before they actually reach out to you to get started. So like if you have like 6 months to a year, you can wait to get to like, an extra 2 to 3 clients. Okay, cool. All power to you. Just post every day for the 6 months. No problem. Cool. But if you if you actually want to have any level of consistency in audience growth, I would recommend learning how to do Messenger to reach out to people. Now, I call it really building relationships because a lot of people think it's like this like really like hectic scrambling and like getting people to like want to work with you. The way we do it is a lot more conversational and a lot easier for us to be able to kind of like go and get the clients like moving forward. Right? Because this is the way I learned this. So I actually did a course a long time ago. It cost you about 8 grand to learn how to like do messaging. And basically I would have to learn how to get someone from not knowing who I am and then being able to actually be excited to talk in a consultation call within like 2 to 3 days. So it's very opposite of like posting. Posting is generally going to like build up over time versus messaging is very direct. It can be very quickly. Like you can find someone where if you find the right person who wants help and has like the money to pay you, they can get started within 24 hours of you talking to them. It's very direct. It's very fast. Now, it's not necessarily something you have to do forever. What I generally like to do is I like to go and get like anywhere between like 5 to 10 clients via Messenger, and then your content or whatever will start to pick up. Or if you have referral partners like we teach inside of our programs, then it makes it easier. Now, I actually wrote a book about how to do like referral partnerships that basically breaks down like how to get your first or next 6-figure partner. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, go ahead and click this link to go and check out the book. On Amazon, I'm generally going to have it priced for about $16.95. If you go get on my website because you've like read this far through the post, I'll actually let you go and have like the what's it called, the audience discount I give out on my website, and that sells for about $4.95. So go click that link, go get the book. It's only like $5. So if you're really serious about like getting partnerships and really growing your business that way, it's a very simple choice to go and do. Mhm. Cool. Now, so when it comes to messaging, right, I like to do like 5 pillars and 2 bridge steps. Now, I don't want to like go super, super deep into how to message inside of this video because I want to like keep it very specific as to why people do not get results on LinkedIn. So if you can, I might either drop a link to this video on YouTube that breaks down like literally how to do messaging. I literally took like 25 minutes and broke down like what are the messages I like to use, how to build your own message script, how to know if your message script is working, what are the KPIs to know if your message script is actually working, and like what does success actually look like for you so that you can start going getting results as well. Okay. So one thing I'll actually go a little bit deeper on when it comes to messaging is something someone does wrong, which is like they message too direct. On LinkedIn, you do not want to just friend request someone and go, do you need a bookkeeper? Do you need an accountant? There are a couple of reasons why. Number one, you just blend in with the crowd. Like LinkedIn used to be a place where like everybody was messaging and just trying to sell and like spam stuff. And like people really did not take kindly to it. So people developed like a sales resistance on that platform. Right. So anytime like you would send a sales message, people would really like dislike it, not like it, not want to talk to you. It's kind of gotten easier the last couple of years because there was an overcorrection. So since there was so much irritation when people directly pitching, the platform stopped letting people be able to send out a lot of messages each day. So a lot of the spammers started disappearing. So nowadays, there's like a wide open kind of opportunity for you to message people because you're not really competing with the spammers as much. So one way that you can separate yourself is just not by being a spammer. There will come a time and place in this messenger conversation to where you will invite them to a call and where you will eventually sell your services, but you just don't want to do it in the first 5 minutes. It's almost like, um, walking up to a stranger, um, walk up to a stranger and ask them to give you $1 million versus being married to someone for 10 years, then asking them to give you, $1 million. It's a lot, the likelihood's a lot higher that the person you're married to is going to go and give you the $1 million than a random stranger on the street. Now, you know, I don't know your business, I don't know your relationship, maybe it's not, but in general, this is what it's like. So yeah, that's another thing people do. So um, okay, so this video is about 20 minutes long, so this is not bad. So now what I would do is I would actually go and like, let me hit start LinkedIn part two. Okay. So now what I'm doing is I'm actually like saving and like oops. Mm, mm, mm. Okay. So this cost me $5 to transcribe this, which could be seen as a lot, a lot of money. But like, so every like long video or long post you see would cost me like $5, $10 because I'm not even done with the post. I probably have to go and add like another 20 minutes into it. Plus, I have to go do some editing for it. So yeah, definitely. I'm definitely not gonna like be able to finish this post while like on this video because that would just be too long. But those are some of the different challenges I see most people making, like when LinkedIn does not work for them. So also, if you want some help growing your business, like maybe you've been trying to grow your business, but it's just not quite going the way that you want, the way that you hope, go ahead and click the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to book a call with myself to see if I can help you inside our program. That way you can just avoid all the mistakes that cause like most people fail and just reach your goal in like the shortest period of time possible. So if that's you, I'd love to see you on the call. If you're not quite ready, that's a-okay too. I'll see you inside the next video. Either way, talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day. Take it easy.